Hi, and welcome to Rate That Album, the album review podcast where myself, Paul Muad'Dib, and my good friend Joe Fremming go back and forth on different albums. Joe, how are you doing this eve?
You know, enjoying the happy holidays with a Z.
Yes. It being the month of December, I decided for this month I'm going to be picking holiday albums, and I started with the Bootsy Collins 2006 Christmas theme album, "Christmas Is Forever." Joe, I got to be honest with you. I think we're the only people that have reviewed this album.
It's a shame, Paul, because this is like the greatest Christmas album I've ever heard.
Right?
This album was fucking amazing. So I worked in retail for many years in my 20s, and a lot of it was in a mall. And, you hear a lot of Christmas music. I worked at a place where all we could play was Christmas music. And I just grew to hate Christmas music. So I was really on edge when you picked a Christmas album. Because it brings back some PTSD, man. Like angry customers like screaming in your face while fucking Burl Ives is singing Holly Jolly Christmas. It's the holidays really bring the worst out in people.
Yes.
Which is kind of the opposite of the message of the holidays.
I worked retail as well, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm so burnt out on Christmas songs. I am just absolutely burnt out. Yeah, I mean the standards, the classics, I can't do it. I have a friend of mine. Maybe you know him, Blaine. We went to school with him. I think he was a grade or two ahead of us. He's a guy that listens to Christmas songs in July. I mean, he just absolutely loves Christmas music. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I can't either. I mean, it goes because those years I really didn't get days off in December. It was just I was working two jobs, and yeah, both of them was with Christmas music playing. And so if you think about like 8-hour shifts, 7 days a week with nothing but Christmas music, it's gonna jade you a bit.
Oh yeah, I worked at Target in the mall, and I worked at Sears in the mall, and like clockwork, the day after Thanksgiving, the Christmas music hits, and that's all you're hearing. And same thing when I managed the gas station, same thing. Yeah. Like Thanksgiving, and I would work every holiday at the gas station because I'd get time and a half. But literally on Thanksgiving, like the Christmas would switch to the Christmas music.
Yeah, I worked at the shirt place in the mall, and and the thing is, like, I get why they do it.
That's right. You worked at T-Shirts Plus. That's right.
Yeah, I get why they do it because people hear Christmas music, they might want to buy shit. Like I'm sure there's a psychological reason why stores do it. I don't know why your gas station did it because that's kind of a built-in customer base. Everybody needs gas if they have a car.
Yep.
And I don't think there's impulse buys and that weird $3.99 DVD rack with, old Canon films.
Well, yeah, no, but I will say, if you go to a gas station, like when you're out pumping your gas, you hear music typically playing. This was the days before. Now, most of the time now you go and you get like a fucking TV screen that starts playing. Yeah. But
at the fucking wall. I'm so like, and I work in an ad-based business, but there's intrusive ads, and like the gas station ones are intrusive to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Or the ones like in bathrooms too. You'll see those like in like Minneapolis. There'll be a fucking video ad on above a urinal. Like,
yep, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. So, yes, this is. I don't think. I mean, I've never heard any of these songs play on any type of like Christmas place I've been to or where they play music. I don't know about you. I've never heard these played anywhere in public.
No, I was already I was in college by the time this came out, so I was out of the retail game except for working at Electric Fetus, and they would just play like one or two Christmas albums in the mix, but it wasn't nonstop. I wish this album was out in like from 2000 to 2005 when I was actually working retail.
Right?
This would have made it at least make me not want to put a gun to my mouth. Jesus, this was like, it's not hyperbole. This is my favorite Christmas album I've ever heard, and I'm shocked I've never heard of it before you suggested it.
Well, again, like I said, I think we're the only people that have reviewed it, because I mean, you go to the wiki, there's nothing there. There's nothing on this wiki. There's an all music score. So I went to see, hey, was there a review? All there is kind of a conglomerate of what people have said. But literally before we did, as we were doing this, I was looking for reviews and things like that. There's a few out there, like from the vault. But it's from like 2014. It's like a retrospective. There's nothing that's really reviewed this when it came out. Like, this was under everybody's radar, or people are like, hey, we don't want to deal with a Bootsy Christmas album, which is, as you said, really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is an amazing Christmas album. It literally sounds, if you imagine the Chronic era Dr. Dre making a Christmas album, this is what it would sound like. This is like P-Funk and G-Funk combined.
Yep. And we'll get into that, because there's a lot that's going on here. There's a lot to unpack with this album, which is really interesting. There's a few things that I will bring up, but so you really liked it, Joe. So let's kind of dig in this. Let's start with In Your City. The first track, which is kind of an interesting track. Bootsy's not really on it in the first track. It's just kind of setting the tone for the album, and
he's bringing the funk, Paul. He's bringing the goddamn funk, which more people need. And let me ask, did you pick this album because I once said a few reviews ago that you were hopelessly addicted to boring white people music?
So it's so funny you say that, because honestly, one of my favorite genres is funk. So it's like when you called me out on that, I was like, that's really interesting, because like I've been a Bootsy fan since high school. Like when I play like a lot of songs like for myself and things like that, I do a lot of like funk riffing, things like that. So, but yeah, I realized that I haven't gone into this genre at all since we've done this show. And I remember this album, so I was like, we're going to do this, because what's the best way to introduce people to Bootsy than with a Christmas album?
Well, why don't you give a little bit of a history of Bootsy? Because I think there's people who know him, but I don't think people really know like his starts and all that.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Bootsy, because Bootsy's one of those guys that I think has kind of become a joke over the years. And really, this guy is super talented. Okay, so his name's William Collins is his real name. And he in the late 60s, he and his brother Catfish, who you hear him talk about in the album. So, when you hear him talk about Catfish, that's his brother.
Well, he does thank like everybody from which you're about to get into, which is a long list. So I think he kind of shortened it up, because I think all told, P-Funk Funkadelic has like 60 members.
Yes, and we could get into I think we'll get into P-Funk another time, because there's some not so great things about P-Funk. They've done a lot of good things, but as you said, there were 60 people there, and there's some kind of like, there's been a lot of shady stuff in terms of people getting paid and things like that in the P-Funk that we could get into, I think, when we'll eventually do a P-Funk album.
Or a George Clinton album.
Yeah, a George Clinton album. So, yeah, in 1968, he started a band called the Pacemakers with his brother. It was a funk band. And then in 1970, James Brown's band, most of the members quit over a pay dispute. And the Pacemakers were hired as Brown's backing band and became known as the JBs. So really, that was where a lot of his things like Get Up, Sex Machine, that was the JBs. That was Bootsy Collins. Bewildered, that was Bootsy Collins. Super Bad, Soul Power, Talking Loud, Saying Nothing. That was all Bootsy, Catfish, and Cash. And Bootsy had nothing but great things to say with his time with Bootsy, with James Brown.
Yeah, something not a whole lot of people can say.
No, he said basically James Brown treated him like a son. Really did a lot of good things for him. Really, got him off the ground and really, got him going with the funk.
Yeah, none of that smoking crack and driving into an office building with a handgun demanding to use a bathroom. Not that James Brown.
Not that James Brown. So after that, Bootsy moved to Detroit and was going to join the Spinners. However, Parliament member Mala Franklin said, "Hey, you should join the Funkadelic," and that's where he got in with the P-Funk, with the mothership. Funkadelic and Parliament albums, he was doing the bass for almost all of it in the early 80s, as well as he's got sound credit for a lot of them. Well, going back to 1976, he formed a band called Bootsy's Rubber Band.
Goddamn right he did.
Goddamn right he did. Bootsy's Rubber Band, and they put out like 5 albums. And
people have to realize everybody involved with Parliament, Funkadelic, and the spin-offs were insanely prolific. Even with the P-Funk stuff, like they're putting out album after album after album. It was insane what they were doing.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they were doing a lot. And then in 1978, the Rubber Band put out probably their mostly recognized song, which was Bootzilla, which was a #1 R&B single in 1978. And Bootsy, one of the things, he's the world's only rhinestone rock star monster of a doll, Bobble. He put on a lot of things. He called himself Casper, the Funky Ghost, to Bootzilla, and he does that here. So yeah, you'll hear him refer to himself as a lot of things. And even in like 1978, on people talk about the word "baby's mama" and how that kind of came recently. No, Bootsy was even in 1978 in a song was saying, "Hey, baby mama." So yeah, and he has a. If you look on YouTube, just look up Bootsy Collins diaper. It's an amazing thing.
It doesn't seem like something I want to look up on my work computer.
And it's not Bootsy in a diaper. Okay. He had a guy that played with him, Gary Scheider, and he would play in a diaper. And they do just an amazing live rendition. And Bootsy is like, he's just phenomenal. So I'll by the end of this, I'll have the track for you, and the link. But yeah, absolutely. Just look up Bootsy diaper, and you'll find it. Phenomenal stuff. So then in the 80s and stuff like that, he put out his first solo album by himself, which was Ultra Rave and Sweet Band. And then he was on George Clinton's Uncle Jam record. He was billed as Bootsy Sweat Band. He was credited for co-producing the debut of the band Zapp. People might remember Zapp. They put out some big hits in the 80s. So yeah, a lot of things. I mean, Bootsy was doing a lot of stuff. He was actually the lead vocal. People don't realize this, for "Weapon of Choice" by Fatboy Slim. That was Bootsy. Bootsy quoted Dune on one of his songs. I mean, Bootsy is a fucking cool guy. So that's Bootsy. And, he has just been, I mean, people, I don't think, give enough credit to him because, again, it's kind of become a joke over the years, which is really unfortunate, because he is one of the hardest working motherfuckers out there. I mean, this guy has put out a shit ton of music. And now he's 70. I mean, if you think about this, he was 60 something when this album came out. So yeah, absolutely awesome stuff. So that's Bootsy in a nutshell. So, anything I missed on Bootsy that maybe you wanted to add, Joe?
Nope. I think we can get it if we eventually, when we get to Parliament Funkadelic, we can get into more of the gritty details of that. George Clinton.
Yeah.
Bootsy's like one of the few people that, well, not few. He's one of the guys that like didn't have a problem with George.
Yeah, he was one of the few people.
A lot of other people did have a problem with George, so.
And the thing is called Bootsy. It's the Space Bass Solo. If you want to find that, it's called Space Bass Solo, and it's on YouTube. Just look up Bootsy Collins Space Bass Solo. It is amazing stuff. So let's get into it because there's a lot of heavy hitters on this album.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of go through, I think, the last couple ones we've gone through track by track. So we'll kind of get in a little bit of that because I kind of want to, say who was on what and who provided, vocals and work for each one. So on this one, In Your City, MC Danny Ray was the lead vocals on it, who passed away this year. I don't think a lot of people know him, but he was the guy that he was the cape handler for James Brown. That's, when James Brown used to get the cape and he'd throw it off, the guy that put the cape on him, that was Danny Ray.
Yeah, and then Hulk Hogan stole that for his Hulkamaniac move.
Oh God, he sure did. We'll get in that. But one thing I will say about this, he has a laugh in there, and I thought, this guy would be the awesome, because the laugh is somewhat creepy. Like it reminded me of Vincent Price from Thriller, and I was like, man, this guy would be awesome for a horror album. like just absolutely awesome. He has a Vincent Price like laugh. Did you notice that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So next we got Merry Christmas, Baby.
Yeah.
And everything was basically done by Bootsy.
And the production on this is amazing. This is an album I'm going to go back and listen to on headphones because there's so much going on with the production. There's so much instrumentation, which is it's so layered with things going on sonically.
Absolutely.
That, a lot of the times, I forgot it was a Christmas album.
Yeah, no, it's absolute. It's not what you think of. And again, I wish that this would be more, people would do fun things like this, because I'm so tired of hearing the same Christmas songs. Mariah Carey, I think, has put out 3 Christmas albums. There's another guy that's put out 6 Christmas albums. Fucking mix it up, do something different with it. We don't need to hear, we've all heard it before. Do something fun like this. So Bootsy did the lead vocals, backing vocals, guitar, bass, and drums for Merry Christmas, Baby.
On this album, the bass lines, holy fuck, man. He's really shining too. This is late in his career and he's still fucking tearing it up.
Yeah. The bass is tremendous in this album. So next we get Jingle Bells with a Z. And you have backing vocals on this. From people. You have a human beatbox by Ian Harku Herzog. Bootsy did the lead vocals, the guitars, the bass, the drums. When you think about everything that's going on and Bootsy's playing all those instruments and it's being produced like that, that's just massive amounts of talent.
Yeah, and he's the one who's produced this album.
Yeah.
So he's this is insane. Obviously there's a lot of super talented musicians on this, but the fact that he was able to pull this all together and make it coherent is a miracle.
Absolutely. You got Bishop Don Juan, who's known throughout the rap world. He helped out with Snoop Dogg's album. He's helped out with Ice-T. He's done a lot of things with appearances on The Daily Show, Viva La Bam. He's just kind of been all around. He's absolutely just kind of been a staple, a figurehead. He actually was considered both Snoop Dogg's and Gina Gershon's spiritual advisor, which is a weird combination. So you got that on there. Then you got Holidaze.
This was a highlight for me too.
So Buckethead does the speech on it, which I thought was really
Guns N' Roses is Buckethead?
Guns N' Roses is Buckethead. You got Snoop Dogg in it.
Yep.
D Jizzle, Morris Mango, Bootsy Collins, Daniel Weathers. Now, one thing I'm going to bring up here, because I want to bring up in the album, one thing that that I want to say about this album is that there's a lot of rehashing, however. So you'll hear things like, Nothing But a G Thing reference, kind of plays on there. You're going to hear
yippee-o, yippee-yay.
Atomic Dog. You're going to hear another song, I'd Rather Be With You. He does Bootzilla. So he kind of takes some of his older works and mixes it in here, and takes other songs and mixes it in here. So that was one thing that I was kind of like, okay, but it's done so well that it doesn't bother me that much. But it is something I want to bring up and say, especially when we get to those tracks, I'm going to be like, this is a complete another rehash of an old Bootsy Collins song. But yeah, in this one, he does bring up Atomic Dog and a little bit of Nothing But a G Thing in there. But it's still great.
To be fair, though, Dr. Dre made a career off of his music. So I have no problem with him kind of taking it back. He went from P-Funk to G-Funk to P-Funk on this album, and it's amazing.
Yes, and one thing I want to bring up for some of the audience is, what people will never know from kind of like younger people will never realize is just how fucking hardcore Snoop Dogg was back in the day. This guy
on trial for murder.
He was on trial for murder. He put out a song about it. Murder was the case that they gave me. I mean, and he wore that like a badge of honor. Now you know him for doing fucking Martha Stewart specials and fucking roast specials and laid back tracks and things like that. Snoop Dogg was a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, he wasn't like Ice Cube, who was just a badass in name only.
Right. No, Snoop Dogg was the real fucking deal, and I don't think people will get that. So next you got Chestnuts.
Hell yeah, you do.
Chestnuts, a.k.a. the Christmas song, written by Mel Torme and made funky, of course, by the Bootsy. Absolutely great. I love this. It's so much fun. It's just so much fun.
I also want to say I love the bizarre, speeches in between songs. It's just fucking nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. At one point it's it's later on, and I don't remember, but he kind of goes off on almost like a Born Again tangent.
Yes.
What's going on? I was driving around so confused.
I think is that the one where he's talking about the Kings of Kings and how
he's talking about the Kings of Kings,
because he says
it starts with Santa not being able to get into his house because he lived in an apartment,
because he lived in the ghetto. Yep,
and he didn't have a chimney.
He didn't have a chimney because the kids were making
fun of this weird Born Again shit. What's going on?
Yeah, and he talks about how so he changed his he doesn't call people Santa because he didn't want people to know. So now he calls Santa the King of Kings. And Jesus,
Jesus, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, and he basically it's Jesus,
So Santa Claus is Jesus. Yep, I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah, at this point you might as well because it's Bootsy. But yeah, no, he starts going off on that, and that's just great. And I want to say that one was Silent Night. I think it was.
It was. This album was a ride, man. I don't remember where everything was placed. There's a part where he's talking about. He's asking kids what they want for Christmas, and this one kid wants all the money in the world and rule.
He wants all the dames and all the money.
I was just like, holy shit!
And one girl wants a bike and a Barbie doll. One kid wants nothing.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, that's great.
That's great. What do you want for Christmas? I want all the dames and all the money. Yeah, you do.
He's not even listening to their answers. Let me just put it on the record.
And just again, we introduced you guys a little bit to Bootsy if you didn't listen to it with William Shatner, and Bootsy just has this great way of talking and singing, and just has this amazing. I mean, Bootsy wears himself on a sleeve. Oh yeah, baby mama.
No, there's no filter with Bootsy.
There's no filter with Bootsy, and it comes off in this Christmas album, which gets us to Winter Funky Land.
Yeah, with Macy Gray.
With Macy Gray, yep.
Yeah, the second most weird thing Macy Gray has ever done, after her number one being her cover of Don't Go Breaking My Heart with Old Dirty Bastard. Right.
Now, what's interesting about this one is he brings Cash, his one of the guys that was in the original one to do drums. So yeah, you had the backing vocals. You had Macy Gray. You had someone else do keyboards. There's so much great stuff going on here. And Bootsy plays guitar and does percussion on this one. There's other people play. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on this one. Like there's a lot of instrumentation. And
yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild.
But it's probably the best version.
You get into this album that you'll forget it's a Christmas album until you start listening to the lyrics. But sometimes there's so much interesting music going on that I just wasn't paying attention to the lyrics. I was like, wow, that's weird. I wonder how they did that.
And there's a lot of things there where you kind of go, it's yes. Even like in 2006, even now, you kind of sit back and you listen to something and you go, how did they do that? There's a lot of that. I remember sitting in the car listening to this and going, whoa, that came out of nowhere. How the fuck did they pull that off? And then we got Santa's Coming, a.k.a. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which George Clinton does a speech on this one. There's just, then you got, go ahead.
I like George Clinton, man. Like, I know he was kind of shady with his bandmates, but man, that guy's fun.
He's a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun.
Fun dude. I wish I would have seen him in live.
Yeah, that's like something
Prince are like one of those things. Like I wish I would have seen him live at that first Av show where he got arrested for smoking crack.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yeah, no, I'm with you with that. Prince is one of those things I regret never seeing live. George Clinton is another one I regret never seeing live. Bootsy will be one I will regret never seeing live.
Well, he's still alive, so if he ever tours, I'll go with you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love to go to Bootsy with you. Hell yeah. So next we got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a.k.a. Rudolph the Funky-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, this was a wild track, man. This was another favorite of mine.
Yeah, the kids singing, Rudolph, won't you ride the mothership tonight?
This all made me feel like I was on acid. It was wild.
So Catfish, his brother, does the guitar on this one. Bootsy does pretty much everything else. Toby Donahue helps out with it, and Don Bynum did the saxophone. Now we get the one that I Silent Night. This is the weirdest rendition of Silent Night you'll ever hear.
Yep, it's probably one of my favorites. I'm so sick of the other one. It's yeah. I mean, it's. Again, it's just, you have to hear it. It's just nothing you'll expect. It is not traditional Silent Night. It goes off the rails real quick in a great way. Oh yeah. This album's a must hear, man. Like people need to hear this album. I feel like this album needs to be known.
I wish it was. Like I said, no one reviewed this thing. Like I said, as far as I know, we're probably one of the only few people that have reviewed this fucking album. Now, Sleigh Ride. Charlie Daniels is on this track, dude.
The devil went down to Georgia, man.
Yep, Sleigh Ride. So Charlie Daniels is on the fiddle and doing backing vocals. Sugarfoot is doing backup vocals. You got Raspberry doing vocals. You got Paul Patterson doing mandolin and violin. I mean, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot going on. That's like he went all out on this fucking album. And just think about that. Charlie Daniels worked on a funk Christmas album, man. How crazy is that?
he was an alright guy until he fucking went off the rails, man. Not in like the fun Bootsy Collins way, but in the tragic Fox News watching uncle way.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I'm not shocked, but it happens. This Christmas, aka This Christmas, you got Roger Troutman, who is known for his talk box and did a lot of early '90s West Coast hip hop. Does the vocals on this one, or does the speech on this one? You got Bootsy, you got Matt Dawson. This is a great one. This Christmas is a great one.
Yeah.
So Be With You. All right, this is the one that I was like, ooh, because I love the original. The original, I'd Rather Be With You. By I believe that's, I don't know if that was, I think that's Bootsy's Rubber Band. Not the P-Funk, but that's Bootsy's. I'd Rather Be With You is a great song. It's a great fucking song. And it's got that weird, God, what was that song with, California Knows How to Party. It's got that vocal, that robot vocal in there that he throws in. So it's basically like I'd Rather Be With You, but then like in the where the spaces are, This Christmas. So that was hilarious. And
then we end with Christmas Is Forever.
Yes, with Bobby Womack.
Yeah,
lead vocals.
I mean, it's wild. You could have this list of musicians make a coherent album. Like Bobby Womack, Charlie Daniels, Snoop Dogg. What?
Yeah, Macy Gray. Buckethead. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And this is a song that that Bootsy wrote. Christmas Is Forever. Yeah, it's absolutely a trip. Like, this is an absolute trip. So yeah, and you got Belita Woods, who did an early demo of I Just Love You. So she's been around, she was a funk disco soul singer from back in the day. Yeah, she passed away. That's one of the sad things about this. Like, when you look at a lot of this, I think you realize just how old, Bootsy is at this point, and the people he's working with. A lot of people that were on this album have passed away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's depressing. Thanks for bringing this incredibly fun review down. I was having too much fun, Paul.
Well, I'm a big downer, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, again, Bootsy is 70 at this point. You know what I mean? And it's just what it is, But God, in 2006, these guys were having the fucking time of their lives making this album. Like, you could tell people were having fun doing this.
Yeah, and it's like, this is one of those albums. Like, there wasn't a moment I really disliked on it. It was like front to back, just solid production. Solid musicianship. Like, I didn't have vocals that were like, like, it was just like so well done. It's like, why does nobody know about this record? Why is this the first time I'm hearing about it?
I'm surprised, man, because I know about it. So I would assure you knew about it.
I can't keep track of everything, man.
No, that's true. That's fair. But yeah, no, this was it was produced, mixed, and recorded by Bootsy.
Yeah, which is like, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to be in a session recording music and getting it just right. It's a lot of work being behind the console, mixing everything so it sounds good. It's like 6 full-time jobs he had on this album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and think about, again, all the people he had involved with it and having to juggle that and juggle all the different ways people were coming in, just the way he was rewriting a lot of these songs. Again, I think a lot of people, they phone in Christmas albums, right? It's already written, it's already whatever. So you just kind of do a little bit of a spin and it's, you're in and out of the studio. It's nothing outrageous. And here he is taking all of these songs that have been around for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years and completely reworking them with a different cast on each fucking track, essentially.
Yeah.
Just that alone.
Yeah.
Is worth the price of admission.
Like just how fucking talented he is, man. Like,
yeah, we've talked about
staggering. Like it's almost offensive how talented he is.
It's not fair, right? It's not fair.
Like this man is like the most talented man in the world. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, and he's a joke, and that's what that's like the depressing part about it. Like people look at him and just kind of laugh, oh, it's Bootsy, whatever. And no, it's no, he's been doing it for a long ass time, and he's fucking a genius. I mean, I throw the word genius around, not sparingly. He's genius.
Yeah,
he's genius.
Yeah, and I think he'll get his recognition at some. Like, I mean, they started like these guys got their recognition at least when the G-Funk era with the Chronic, Doggy Style, and Regulators came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people were like, like Dre was not, he was not shy about saying about how awesome Funkadelic and Bootsy and all these and Clinton were. So it's like, I think he'll have his moment. I hope it's not when he's dead, though. I want him to at least. He deserves all the respect.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I really hope like people get into a Bootsy resurgence soon, because I mean Bootzilla is a phenomenal record front and back as well. I've debated doing Bootzilla on this, and instead I landed on this. And of all people that got me in the Bootzilla, Bootzilla is the big track. It was Bootsy Player of the Year.
Damn right he was.
Player of the Year 1978. It's a girl that we went to school with, Stephanie. She got me in the Bootsy because she was talking about how her dad had this record. And I was like, and she's like, oh man, you got to hear this song, Bootzilla. And so I went out to the Fetus and I got Bootsy Player of the Year. And that's what turned me on the Bootsy. Because we were in homeroom together. I think this was sophomore year. I think it was our sophomore year in high school when I got in the Bootsy. And it totally was just like, holy shit. Like I've loved funk ever since. So yeah, that's Bootsy's Christmas is Forever album, Joe. So first of all, would you recommend it as a Christmas album?
I'd recommend this as in any album. It's phenomenal. Like I love it. I love this album. This is my favorite Christmas album. I love every track. Like I was not bored. I was not I wasn't annoyed by vocalists or anything. Like I really just enjoyed this album a lot.
And that's the next thing I was getting. Would you recommend it as a funk album?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like there's like I said as we're talking, there's moments where I just completely forgot it was a Christmas album.
Yeah, I agree. I've known about this album for a while. I've listened to it here and there. I haven't listened in a while, so it was kind of nice going back and revisiting it, and I loved it just as much now as I did then. It's a lot of fun. Yes, I would completely recommend this album. I'd recommend every single song on the album. Listen all the way through because there is kind of that theme with like the speeches and the talking and songs kind of bleeding into one another. It's almost like a concept album in a way, but again, it's a cover, but it's genius. And again, it's Bootsy being, it was Bootsy being very, sentimental. It was him saying a lot of thank yous, throwing out a lot of respect to people over the years that, as we know, were, passing away. and we're at, you know, towards the end of their careers and their lives, and there's a lot here, and you can tell that they're having fun, and you can tell he's being genuine in, you know, as he's throwing out these thank yous and these Christmas, you know, wishes to these people.
Yeah, it's amazing and heartfelt and wild and crazy and startling at times. In a good way, though. It's a really good being startled, like, holy shit, what was that? You know, it's this is like a fun album, and I think I wish more Christmas albums were fun.
Yeah, I wish more of them were fun like this, you know, and not, like I said, I wish people would take chances like this. I mean, there's a lot of chances in this, and, you know, at the risk of sounding really, really white, I love how a lot of these songs were made into, you know, these traditional white boring songs were made into funk songs for the urban listener. Like, this has been a long time coming, and I'm surprised more artists, more funk artists, more rap artists, R&B artists haven't done things like this, and really gone out there and really made a far out Christmas album like this.
Yep. They won't, because there's no money in it, but
well, and that's the sad thing, right? Because again, there's no reviews on this album.
Yeah, well, you'll find reviews of Mariah Carey's countless Christmas albums, or there's so many of them, and they're almost all
they're all the same.
They're all terrible. They're all the same. They're joyless slogs.
And, you know, it's sad that this didn't get more recognition, because as we talked about, it's a great album. It's a great album.
Yeah, it stands on its own outside of a Christmas album.
Yeah,
which,
and, you know,
I can't think of, maybe Vince Guaraldi's Charlie Brown Christmas works outside of a Christmas album just because it's so iconic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but that's a stretch. This one actually, it stands on its own outside of being a Christmas album.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that, you know, All Music Rating only gave it 3.5 stars, which doesn't really even begin to comment on it. You know, I mean, the small review, I'm going to read it here, just a small review on All Music, and this is all they did. It's basically a paragraph. It should come as no surprise that Bootsy Collins completely blows the concept of what a Christmas album should be, as he deconstructs, reassembles, and totally funks up several holiday standards, which might be the best Christmas dance album ever made. You know, Jingle Bells, Winter Wonderland, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer end up getting filtered through Collins' P-Funk zone in the tracks called Jingle Bells, Winter Funky Land, and Boot Off. Well, Chunky the Funky Reindeer shows up for the greeting. And become Chunky because he's funky. Sleigh Ride, which again has Charlie Daniels, and the whole affair bounces, bubbles, and pulses like a holiday lava lamp set at hyperspeed, full hall call-outs, and vocals aside. It's one impressive, energetic bundle of holiday cheer. Snoop Dogg guests on Holidaze. Bobby Womack handles the lead vocal on the main title track. Meanwhile, Bootsy stomps through his cartoon neon landscape like some ultra-jolly hip-hop Santa, spreading glad tidings and goodwill to all and making sure everyone keeps their feet moving. This is some Christmas groove. Grandma might even like it. 3.5 stars. What?
Out of what? 4?
What's out of 5?
Out of 5? Well, that's weird.
Right. You give this glowing review, and then you give it 3.5 stars.
Yeah. That's why I take music reviews with a grain of salt. I go to the sources I respect.
Yeah. Yep.
And that navel gazer doesn't sound like somebody I respect.
Yep. It just says Christmas album forever review by Steve Legert at Christmas at All Music. Now again, you know, I don't think All Music was really around how long ago, so I think a lot of this is retrospectives. But you know, again, the point is that, yeah, I think this is a 5.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
This is a 5 out of 5. It's very rare that you and I will sit through an album and go, every song needs to be listened to. And this is just one of those one of those albums. Like every single song, sit and listen through it. Throw this on. When you're sitting back, even if you're not in the Christmas, even when Christmas is not your thing, put on as a funk album, because just as Joe said, you're putting on the headphones and listening to what they do and what Bootsy has done here, just musically and sonically, is worth listening to as the price of admission.
100%. Yeah, this is a good headphone music album. Almost all Bootsy is going to be great headphone music, but this is, he had the technology and everything to make a phenomenal sounding album, and there's just a lot going on in it.
Yeah. So there we go. That is Bootsy Collins. Christmas is Forever. Joe, I found a Christmas album you like.
Yep, you did. You did.
All right, buddy.
Imposing your Judeo-Christian beliefs on me.
Oh, I should make it very clear that I am not Christian. Let me make that very clear.
Yeah, right. Come on. Fucking Jerry Falwell over here. watching the pool boy bang his wife.
You know what, man? If I had Jerry Falwell money, no.
You're saying you wouldn't be a cuckold?
I'm saying I'd have enough money not to be a cuckold.
Which is kind of the point of having a lot of money, to avoid being a cuckold.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of weird, right? Like, you got Jerry Falwell money, and here you are watching your wife bang the pool boy. I don't know. I mean, again, I thought that's why you got all the money.
Yeah. I'm confused by that dynamic.
That dynamic just isn't working right.
No, it's not.
So, sir, what are we doing next week?
Well, let's talk about what's coming up for the Joe Down first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, plugs.
Yeah,
plugs,
we'll do the plugs. This week, when we're recording, Brown and I will be reviewing Black Swan.
Ooh, have you watched it yet?
Not yet. I plan on watching it either tonight or tomorrow. And then, just because I want to be also in the holiday spirit like you, Paul, and impose my Judeo-Christian beliefs on people, I'm making Brown watch A Christmas Story 2.
Oh.
The official sequel.
Oh,
That's how the title is.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
Remember straight to video sequels?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so
Brown's straight to streaming sequels.
Yeah, he's gonna sit through that.
God, that had Daniel Stern in it, didn't it?
Yeah, he plays the dad.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. What happened to him? What happened to Daniel Stern?
I don't know. Probably all those concussions he got from Macaulay Culkin.
Well, I was going to say, I think maybe City Slickers 2.
Yeah, even the third City Slickers sat that one out and had to get John Lovitz in it.
Oh, God, I forgot there was a third one.
No, the second one, the third of the trio.
Oh, yes.
Who played the actor who played the third friend in the first one, but they replaced him with John Lovitz in the sequel.
That's right. That's
Curly
right.
Gold, you know.
Yep, Curly's Gold.
And it's never good when you have to bring in John Lovitz.
No.
Looking at you, News Radio.
Oh, well, it's not like they wanted to.
That was a tragic circumstance.
That was a really, really sad circumstance. I mean, I was just reading an article about that just not the other day, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's right. Bill
Hartman. Guy was fucking brilliant.
Guy was brilliant.
News Radio is one of my favorite shows of all time. That show was great.
It was phenomenal. I really think like Home Alone 2 is about where Daniel Stern's career started to really go downhill.
What about that? What was that movie where he played the Celtics fan and they kidnapped the basketball player?
Celtic Pride?
Celtic Pride. I like how you knew that right away.
Yeah, with Dan Aykroyd, my man. With David Waynes.
Yeah, I knew you would know that. A man who voluntarily sat down and watched Speed 2 Cruise Control would obviously know Celtic Pride.
Fuck you. Oh, man. Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Oh.
I'm surprised you guys didn't do Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas.
Yeah, there's only so much self-hating I have. It's just him in a car yelling about Jesus at a guy, I think.
I think that's the synopsis actually on the back of the box.
Someday we'll do those God's Not Dead movies with Kevin Sorbo.
Oh God, fuck. No. Oh man, fucking Hercules. What the hell? What the hell?
Minnesota Pride.
Son of a bitch.
All right, now we will get to what's happening next week. I'm giving you a choice between A and B, Paul.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you what the choices are. Like, I have it marked down, but one is a Christmas album. The other is the Wheel of Shit.
Let's do the Christmas album. Let's keep it going with
We're gonna be doing Christmas from the Heart by Bob Dylan.
God damn it. Fuck. All right.
Yeah, it's about time we got to old Robert Zimmerman. My good friend Robert Zimmerman.
Oh God. I'm shocked at you. I never would have thought. I would have done Bob Dylan before you did.
Yeah, not during Christmas, buddy. This is the only Bob Dylan album I'm ever gonna pick.
Oh man.
he butchers all these Christmas songs. It's amazing. Surprised. I'm surprised. What is those weird right wing? Like this Jewish guy's destroying our Christmas music.
That's right, he's Jewish. What is he doing?
I think he might be a Jew for Jesus. I don't know. I don't know what his. He's pretty mum on his actual religion. So, but he's done Christian albums.
Yeah,
but we're not going there. We're going for Christmas from the Heart by Bob Dylan.
Yeah, he went through a Christian phase there. I remember that with like God, what was that album? Oh fuck.
Saved, and there was what was it?
Joker Man. Yeah, with Joker Man. Oh God damn.
Yeah, Saved, Shot of Love, or Slow Train Coming.
Infidels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking. I was thinking Infidels.
Yeah. No, we're not doing that. No. We're doing this Christmas album, Paul. We're doing Christmas from the Heart.
Christmas in the Heart.
Where he covers with his amazing voice, "Do You Hear What I Hear?" and "Winter Wonderland" and "Hark the Herald Angels Sing."
Jesus Christ. All right. A
song called Christmas Island.
Christmas Island. Oh my God. Hearing Bootsy's Winter Funkyland and now having to go to Bob Dylan's Winter Wonderland, I don't think it's gonna compare.
I can already tell you I'm not gonna suggest it.
Oh shit. All right.
Should have gone with the Wheel of Shit, my friend.
Oh yeah, well,
it is. I had the one in the chamber for the Christmas album was gonna...
Well, I was semi-expecting Shatner Claus, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but we just did a Shatner one. We can't do another one that quick.
No, we cannot. Maybe next December we'll do Shatner Claus. His version of Feliz Navidad is something to hear.
I wish Bob Dylan did Feliz Navidad. Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
I will say I went and saw Bob Dylan live during his Love and Theft tour, and there's Bob Dylan I enjoy. I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy me some Bob Dylan. It was such a colossal disappointment because he was going through that country phase at that point. So all of his, he did all these like country renditions of his songs and things like that. And it was a massive massive disappointment. It was frustrating to sit through.
His whole career has been a giant fuck you to people who like him.
Well,
not in a fun way like Tom Waits, but in a dark and disturbing way like Bob Dylan.
Well, we could definitely discuss how he's given a lot of people fuck yous over the years next week when we do this album. So, all right. Well, Joe, do you want to take us out?
Ooh.